Okay, now. What's so weird is that in the YouTube recording, you can hear me, but like on here, you couldn't hear me. It's so weird. I don't know why that happened. But anyways, here we are. Okay. So welcome to this team call. Hopefully everybody can make it on. I was going to wait a couple minutes just so people can be on. This is a really important call because this call is a recap of the past 7 days that I have spent like really deep diving into this GoPro challenge event. And I made watching every single video my priority. Like that was like my thing. So even if I had to stay up really late at night to be able to catch it within the 24-hour window, I was going to catch it and I was going to take notes on it and I was going to make sure everybody on the team knew about it. And I'll preface this by saying the reason I was so excited about it, first of all, I think Eric Worre is kind of a genius. His GoPro book is really amazing. He really has a very strong position on becoming a professional within the network marketing industry, which I respect enormously. And I think the number one reason so many people fail in this industry or have skepticism about this industry is because the lack of professionality is insane in this industry. And I have personally run into people who are so unprofessional within this industry that no wonder there are people out there who are looking at us like we are predatory, which is actually a comment I got today. And I talked about it in my stories, right? So I love the fact that he's really big on positioning yourself as a professional. And so everything he teaches is from that platform. Now, the reason I was really excited for this 7-day event that he was hosting was because it was an international event, meaning he was bringing together network marketing leaders from around the world in all countries to talk at this event, not just the US, not just Canada, but all around the world. And not only was he bringing in like top speakers in general, like Sylvester Stallone spoke and Pitbull spoke and Grant Cardone spoke and a bunch of people spoke. Marie Forleo spoke, right? So these are all just leaders. And Les Brown spoke. These are all just leaders in the industry in general. But he also brought in top producers, top income earners from all these different companies worldwide to talk about something specific for this training. And I love that because it allowed me to get this outside perspective on my business, because a lot of the training that I do tends to be within my company. I tend to watch a lot of videos of people that are doing my business, right? That are speaking my language, that are in my field. But I think there's a lot to learn from people who sell different products than you, have different organizations than you, are in different countries than you, and have been taught by different people. So I spent the past 7 days really like zoning in on what were the common themes that all of these people were talking about. Okay. So instead of getting overwhelmed with this is so much information, because every single person was just like vomiting a lot of stuff, I decided to look for the median. Okay. So I decided to say, what are the things that all of these people are saying unanimously? Because whatever that thing is means that it's not specific to one person, but that it actually works for all of them in any industry, right? So that was the approach I took. I was like, I am here to sift through the thing that every single one of these people are talking about. Okay. So I have a PDF that I made for you guys. I'll be uploading it into the team page so you guys can have these things that I'm going to share. I'm going to screen share this and go through it with you guys as well. But suffice it to say, one of the things I'm going to give you 4 things, okay, that make what we call income producing activities very simple, a whole new way to look at them. Okay, this is what I'm going to bring you in this call. Now, when I wrote all these down, And then I went into our business activity tracker. I was like, this is pretty much the same thing. However, the emphasis on certain things changed dramatically. And that's what I really want to talk about. Okay. Because if you do this sheet that I'm going to give you guys, you will be doing everything on your business activity tracker, but you will be doing it differently. Okay. And this is where it really counts, because for my brain, this thing I'm about to show you made way more sense than what I was looking at. Okay. And how I approached it. So one of the things they all talked about that's not really on the list yet, we're not going to get there yet, is telling your story. The single most important thing we need to be doing is talking about our story. Because they all said this, by the way. Every single one of them said this. And by the way, there happened to be 2 network marketing professionals, a woman and a man, who are earning $1 million a month. I just want to let that sink in for like a second. And the woman came from welfare, being a stripper, having 4 different children from 4 different dads, no money, no education. Yeah. Okay. So when she spoke, I listened. Because if anybody had anything stacked against them, it was her. And she's very transparent about that. And one of the first things that came out of her mouth was like, many people shy away from telling those stories, telling the story of welfare, telling the story of being a stripper, telling the story of each of your kids came from a different dad, telling your story of drug addiction, telling your story. And she's like, and because you don't talk about it, you're not making money. Like, she flat out said that. Those are the stories that connect people to you, because people cannot connect to you on fitness if they're not there yet, for example. They're not there yet. But they can connect to you if you talk about being on welfare at some point in your life, when they have, or struggling with an addiction, or someone in your family that has an addiction when they have, right? Or in my case right now, talking about how I'm really struggling with body image while being pregnant. Do you know how much attention that post got? A lot. Because many women relate to that. Okay. And what I have been noticing lately is the more I talk about things that are really intimidating to me, the more attention I get. Okay. So I want to share a specific post that I made that made me extremely uncomfortable. Okay, we're just going to start there. I wrote a post, and when I wrote this post, it made me very uncomfortable to share. And when I say that it made me uncomfortable, it's not because anything was wrong with the post, but because of how bold the post was. Okay. So I have a lot of tabs open. It's this post. Y'all probably have seen this post, yes? Of me and my son. And I opened it by saying, real question, when was the last time you were able to take a month off of work because life happened, you didn't feel good, 2020, and you still got paid? Chances are never. That'd be insane, right? Like, who's going to pay you if you don't work? Right? That was definitely my life as a therapist. Here I tell the story of my life as a therapist and how I lost money every time my kid got sick, or I got sick, or something happened and I couldn't go to work, right? But it didn't happen this October. I had to take the whole month off because I was so sick. And I still earned an income because of my business. I didn't mention any numbers. I didn't say anything. And someone read this and signed up as a coach yesterday, by the way. Okay. Now, I was scared of sharing this post. Real scared. And you might be saying, why are you scared of sharing that post? What I didn't realize was I still felt afraid of talking about making money in this business. I still had that fear. I still felt uncomfortable talking about that. I still felt uncomfortable challenging other people to look at what they're doing with their time. Right? I didn't want to be called out. Oh, you're one of those people, right? Like I was afraid of the perception of other people. And during this GoPro challenge, what I've realized is as long as I live afraid of that, I have nothing. I have no freedom. I have no voice. I have no business. Nothing can grow when you are living in the shadow of the perception of other people. Nothing. You have to drop it and be willing to step into your story and be who you actually are. And speak like you actually speak. And in my case, challenge people like I naturally challenge people. I am naturally an extremely opinionated, open-mouthed human being. That's who I am. For me not to post that way is inauthentic to me because that is not who I am, right? Now, my only rule for this, as I've said in the past, is don't go out there with the intention of ever hurting another human being, ever. Do no harm is my one and only rule. You will never catch me posting something with the intention of hurting another human being. That won't ever happen. But from now on, you will definitely catching me posting and challenging people to think about what they're doing with their lives. Because that's what I came here for, is to help other people. Otherwise, I wouldn't even be in this industry. I'd be selling jewelry, frankly, because it's pretty, right? But that's not what I chose to do. So if I'm not going to talk about it like it is, who am I helping? That's my thing, right? So that's something I just want to talk about. The story piece kept coming up over and over and over and over again with people. And so I don't want to downplay that because it's important, the story piece. All right, Kari, let me read your, it is warm in my gym. So I'm just going to change the temperature really quick because I'm sweating. This is the hottest room in the house and it's real hot right now. I'm not feeling it. Okay. Kari, so if you're still in a position where you're broke or on welfare, how do you think we should talk about that? You need to talk about where you're going. Here's the thing you haven't done, Kari, is you haven't talked about where you want to go in your life. I've read your posts and you're really good about getting vulnerable if you're struggling and sharing where you are now, but I haven't seen a single vision post from you. And so that's probably the problem because you're not living in your vision. And so you're not talking about it either, right? There's no direction for your energy to go in. Like I'm working my business because I'm dreaming of doing XYZ thing. When you're not where you want to be or you haven't gotten there yet, you have to speak to vision like 1,000% of the time. You have to speak for vision. You have to. You have to live in your vision, speak to your vision, write out your vision. You have to live there like it's your full-time job. 4 years ago, when I was living in that tiny third floor apartment that was like the worst, with my son and my cat and my dog, and we didn't even fit in that apartment, okay? And I felt awful in my body. We had no money and shit was rough. I would wake up at 5 a.m. literally every morning and just write about like my vision, like obsessed with where I was going. We're going to own a home and it's going to look like this. And I'm going to have a home gym one day. And I'm going to like, I lived there, ate, breathed, lived there. Personal development, like it was my full-time job. Right? And then I used that to get me to work, to actually sit my ass down to do my job. Right? But Kari, listen to me. As a metaphysical teacher, if you cannot see your vision when you are living in the reality that you're living in right now, you will never have it. Listen to me. I'm not just speaking out of my butt. This is the difficulty of manifestation. This is why people don't manifest. And Abraham Hicks talks about this all the time because they're looking at their reality and saying, but see, but see, but see, but see. And so they never get anything different because they're constantly paying attention to their reality. And it doesn't mean you don't acknowledge your reality, but you cannot live in your reality. That's the difference. You can't live there. But this is why manifesting is hard. It's not easy. This shit's hard. But unless you can do that, you can't have that. And that's the thing. That's the thing. It is. It is hard. And there are days where I've cried and freaked out and been like, Abraham, what the fuck do you mean? What do you mean? Like, look at my life. Look at my circumstances. This doesn't make any sense, right? But I would listen to it over and over and over again. And I would just be like, okay, so you can acknowledge your reality, but you can't live there. You can't spend more time acknowledging what's happening right now than where you want to be. That equation has to be flipped. Okay? That's what Abraham means. And trust me, I would find those sound bites and literally play them like on repeat. When I didn't understand, when my brain was just like not letting me get it, I was like, I'm going to listen to this until I get it. I'm going to listen to this until I get it. And I was like, okay, so you're not ignoring your reality. You're just not living there more than you're living here. That's what you're doing. That's just it, right? So daydreaming, which is a quality we've lost because we were told as children it's stupid, don't do it, waste of time, is actually extremely significant. When you are in the situation where I was or where you are, that is how you get out of that. Speaking into that vision. So I know that it's hard. I'm not saying it's not, but that's the only route there for anything at all. There's no other path. That's the path. See? So a lot of us have lost it though, because we were made fun of or our parents told us or something. And so we just don't dream. We don't spend any time dreaming. We spend all of our time acknowledging our reality, and most of our realities suck. How are you going to be given something different? If the universe is an echo chamber, if the field of intelligence is responding to your output, how are you going to receive something else when the majority of your output is what you currently have? You can't. It can't give you anything else because the majority of your current is communicating one thing, right? So it has to give you that. That's just how it works. That's how the law works, right? So when I'm in that place where I'm stuck, I'm like, my current is wrong. This is not the current I want. I'm obviously sending a current that's not working. I need a new current, a new frequency. That's another way to put it. New charge, right? So that's kind of the metaphysical component of what I'm talking about. But it takes so much spiritual discipline to be able to really do that. People who have never had to really work for a different reality don't understand what we're talking about right now. Okay. Right. And so that's what I'm saying. If you keep like changing your physical circumstances, but then all of a sudden you keep running into the same roadblocks, that's how you know when you're giving out the same current. You know you're giving out the same current of lack or challenge or whatever. When you change your physical reality, you move houses, you change partners, you lose the weight, you whatever, and you still feel exactly the same. And your situation doesn't change. When that's happening, that is direct feedback that your current is not where you want it to be. That's what that's telling you. It's really good information. Not the one you want, but it's good information. Okay? That's how that works. This is a good conversation. This is getting deep before we get into tactical stuff. This is very important. Because the other thing everybody talked about was belief. Besides story, it was belief. It's the number one thing they had was belief. And if they didn't have it, they acted like they did. They worked like they did until they got it. anything you've got to do, and they all said this, whatever you have to read, whatever you have to write, whatever you have to pray, whatever you have to say to get your mind on your side, do it. Because once your mind is convinced, everything happens. Everything happens. That's how that works. Remember when Autumn says the body achieves what the mind believes? Autumn says that all the time, and like all her workouts. Body achieves what the mind believes. That's not just the body. It's like your life achieves what the mind believes. That's how that works. You do what your mind believes. Grant Cardone said that today. He said, you know why you're not showing up for your business? It's not because you're confused and it's not because you're lazy. It's because the payoff isn't big enough yet. That's why you're not showing up for your business. Because if you were making $1 million a month, this is Grant Cardone. He's like, of course you'd show up on social media and talk to everybody you could. You have a payoff that's $1 million a month. You're like, hell yeah, I'm gonna talk to everybody on social media. You know, that's why you're not doing it yet, because your payoff isn't big enough. It's not because you're overwhelmed, and it's not because you're lazy. So you need to get your payoff to make it worth it. That's what you need to do. But you're not going to do that trying to distract yourself from what you need to get done. That's not going to work either. I thought that was powerful. I was like, damn, Grant Cardone is telling me like it is right now. He's calling everybody out right now on this call. See, he's like, no, that's not true. He flat out said it's not true that you're lazy, and it's not true that you don't know what to do, and it's not true that you're overwhelmed. What's true is that the payoff for the work hasn't been big enough for you yet. So that's why you're not doing what you know you should be doing, right? So think about that too, because that's a story. It's another story. All right, so now we're going to get into the meat and potatoes of what I really want to talk about. I'm going to share my screen again. Okay. Here you see a sheet, income producing activities made simple. Okay, we're going to go step by step. Again, I'm going to give you this PDF. If you still want to take notes, but you're going to have this because it's going to be on a team page. Okay. The first one is conversations. Okay. Every single one of the people presenting talked about how many conversations they have a day or start a day. None of them talked about how many people they invite. None of them. None of them. You heard me? Not one of them gave a number for how many invitations they do. What they gave a number for was how many conversations they have. Okay? So that really struck a chord for me, because when I saw that, I said, wait a second. There's something to this. Why are they all just talking about talking and they're not talking about inviting? Or they're not talking about, you know, what's going on? Here's what they said. Unless you are having conversations, not business conversations, literally just, Susan, your shirt is so cute. Where did you get it? Your kids are growing up so fast. How are you doing? I love that picture you shared. Where did you find it? Okay. Literally, that's it. That's it. Those are the conversations. They all said the same thing. This is a relationship business. Your job is to have so many conversations going at the same time that at some point in time, a number of those are going to open up to a transition to your business. That's your goal. At some point in time, a need will make itself obvious, or a question will happen, or you will finally feel like you know enough about that person to say, dude, I think you'd be great at this business. Have you thought about it? Okay. And it will feel organic to you because you've talked so much to them. Okay. So on this sheet, I said, start 25 to 50 conversations daily. That sounds like a lot. Really isn't. You could literally go down your friends list and say hello to everybody that's there and keep going. Like legitimately, that's how you could do this. Okay. But I took it a step further. I said, make half of that list brand new people using something called FAM. Okay. Find, add, message. This works on Instagram. This works on Facebook. Okay. FAM half of those, meaning you find someone new, you add them and you message them. Hey, Jessica, found your profile. I love this and this, or we have these friends in common, or you're in this group that I'm in. Wanted to send you a friend request. Nice to meet you. Okay, that's it. End of that. Counts as one. Move on. So half of these are new, just new people that you're meeting and starting conversations with, or people you haven't talked to in ages, like let's say a long time ago. Half of them could be reconnects, like customers that you haven't talked to in a while. If you have a customer base going, coaches that you haven't talked to in a while, if you have coaches in your downline, or friends of yours that you just haven't really touched base with in a while, but they're not so distant. They're like friends that you generally see online, right? This starting conversations is going to be the most important task on this list. That's why it says number one. Okay, your job is to keep those conversations going. Not about your business. You're not even talking about that. Okay. Now I'm going to jump to number three. Okay. So you're starting conversations. Number three is you're answering all of your messages daily. I'm really bad at that. I will have inboxes full of messages forever, months. And I got called out on that watching this training. I was like, why are you doing that? You're losing money. You're literally losing connections with people when you're not answering them on a daily basis. Make time to answer them. That's how you build a relationship, right? So between number one, where you're starting just talking to people, and number three, where you're answering the messages and continuing the conversations, someplace between 1 and 3, you're going to have invitations. Someplace between 1 and 3, you're going to have invitations. If you just had one business presentation or one challenge group presentation, meaning you invite them and you ask them to like show them a video or show them a video on bot or whatever, if you just did one of those a day, that'd be 7 in a week. That's 30 a month. Do you think you would have clients at least 3 a month, which is the minimum requirement to hit Success Club? Yeah, you probably would. At least 3 of those people would probably say, yeah, okay, I'm interested in that. Right? But we get crazy about invitations, and that's the thing I really want to talk about tonight. We think we have to send so many and it has to be so much, and the emphasis on that is crazy. Some of these days you're going to go through this list and you won't have any. You're going to start your new conversations. You're going to answer all your messages. There won't be anybody that you want to invite or anybody that you want to send a video to. That's okay. And then some days you're going to do this list and there's going to be 4 because it just happened in your conversations, right? This week I will have signed up 3 coaches and I have a 4th appointment going on my book. Okay, from doing this, just from doing this. Okay. But how are you going to know who you're going to invite if you're not talking to people? That's the biggest thing. I want you to forget about the invite number, legitimately. Forget about it. I want you to do what's on this list that I'm going to give you. I'm challenging you to do 25 to 50 conversations a day. That might be too much for you, but it's a challenge. Whoever wants to take me up on it, that's what I'm doing. So I'm going to hold you to that standard. But if you just did this, I can promise you, you will have traction in your business. I've seen it happen to me in 1 week. 1. Okay. No, number 2 is follow up with everyone you invited. Okay. Just follow up with them. If you sent them an invitation, track them some way. I have a notebook where I keep people, and I also use Teamzy. But I have this notebook, and in my notebook, I have a section for like new friends, people that I'm finding and adding. And then I have a section for like follow up for invitations. So I do a manual, but I also have Teamsy. Okay, I have both. You can do it anyway. And then the fourth one is to make sure you take the time to check on your body group and check on your team and make sure that if anybody has any questions, they're answered. You acknowledge people for logging their workout, acknowledge your teammates, answer teammate questions, etc., things of that nature. Okay. But this might not be revolutionary to you guys, but it absolutely was to me. Because when I realized all I really had to do was just talk to people about them 100% and just let it flow. Like, I have been doing that all week, and I've signed 3 coaches. I'm going to sign probably 4 by the time this week is done. I have never signed 4 coaches in 1 week, my whole career as a coach, 5 years. But I'm having a ton of conversations all day long. Well, in my office hours, but I'm answering my messages. Okay. This is so important. This is a relationship building business. And I'm going to add something I didn't plan on talking about, but I do want to mention it. A lot of these people, when they talked about recruiting, they would get people on an appointment to get on the phone or video call. Okay. And I had done that a little bit in my career, but I really hadn't done that a lot. But they really emphasized it, right? So this week I was like, you know what? I'm going to do that. Everybody who reaches out to me that's interested, I'm going to say, hey, let's get on a call. Let's talk about this. Let's figure out if this is a good fit for you. Let's figure out what your dreams and goals are. Like, let's figure out if this is going to work for you. And so here's how the calls would go. For the first time ever, I got on a call and I wasn't thinking about how am I going to transition to the business. I didn't. They know why they're on that call. They know why they're on that call. They know why they agreed to be with me on that call, right? But what I'm going to do opening this call is I'm going to let them talk about them. So what I did was, hey, Sam is a good example. Hey, Sam, how are you? Talk to me. What's going on in your world? I know you're a new mom. I know, you recently got married. What's up? How has life been? That's it. That's all I said. She talked for like 30 minutes, just uninterrupted. All I did was sit on the phone. I didn't even talk. And in those 30 minutes, she told me everything that was going on, what she was struggling with, why she was unhappy, that she wanted to make this a full-time job, everything. By the time she was done talking, I knew exactly what she needed from this business, 100%. I didn't even have to ask her anything. I didn't have to say anything. Okay? So if you don't want to do phone calls because it gives you anxiety, do voice message, but talking, Voxer, voice message, something where people can hear your voice. It makes a difference. Big difference. Right? So after that, I was like, okay, I repeated to her. So you want to make this a full-time job. You don't want to be at the job that you're at now. You really want to be home with your son. You want to have more time for your husband. I just told her everything she said to me to make sure I knew what she was talking about. She also told me that she had been thinking about joining an online business, but she had a bad experience with a company before, so it made her hesitant. But she'd been watching me for a while. And then she told me why she reached out to me, which was really valuable information for me to know what's working. Your posts are really authentic. I know that you're going to tell me the truth if I ask you a question. The comments on your posts, this is so that you guys realize how people are watching you. She hardly ever commented on anything I ever posted or engaged with anything I ever did. I don't even know if that girl knew I was live for the most part. Okay? She said, I would read the comments on your posts and I would realize it was more than just, yes, girl. Like when you watch these other influencers and they're posting about their biceps and all these other girls are like, yeah, get it, right? She was like, people would come onto your post and leave lengthy comments. They would leave thoughtful messages to you. They would tell you how grateful they were for something that you did or gave them. They expressed excitement for working with you or accomplishing something. I could see your community in just the way people commented on your posts. Mind-blowing. Mind-blowing feedback. And I am sharing this because I want you guys to understand that when you think no one is watching, they're watching. But your job is to show up authentically as you are so people can see you, fully see you. And then she said this to me, I knew that if I signed up with you, I would be safe with you. How many of you consider it to be one of the highest compliments that you could be given from another human being, that they feel safe in your company? That they feel like they wouldn't have to be afraid? How does she know that? How does she know that? What you share matters. And unless you're being who you are, people can't know that about you. They can't. Okay? That was a really meaningful call for me because I really didn't have to do much besides answer her questions, listen to her story, and send her a share card. That's it. That's all I did. Got a coach. Like it was that's it. There was no other steps. Yeah, well, Kari, we're in the business where people are coming to us with their vulnerabilities. I get that. People are coming to me vulnerable for this. It's not like jewelry or makeup. People go buy that to feel prettier. Okay? People don't come to get weight loss solutions because they feel fine. No. People don't come to get fitness solutions because they feel good with their lives. People don't come to get nutritional supplements because everything's going just fine. No. People come to us when things are not good. That's our business. And our business is to be compassionate and open to people. That's why I named the team Metta Movement. Unconditional loving kindness. That's what metta means. Okay? That we teach people how to be unconditionally loving to themselves, and that we go out in the world and be unconditionally loving to other people. That's what we do as coaches. Thank you, Angel. I want to be real because I want to have a real team. I want to have real friends. I want to build real relationships. I want you guys to have real success. I want, when we get together, for it to feel fulfilling in my spirit. When I see your faces, that's what this means to me. Yes, I want to build a business and have awesome income and all that kind of stuff, but I don't have words for what it feels like to be at Summit and see my team and hold you and listen to your excitement and see you make connections and grow. That means everything to me. Everything. Because I didn't have that when I started this. I didn't have community. I didn't have women that I loved like that. I didn't have that. That changed my life. That changed my life. Right? So when I go online, I want people to feel how much my life has changed from what I have been given. And they do when you share it. When you share it. Right, Kari. I think nails are cool. I think color street is cool. I think makeup is cool. I think oils are cool too. I think all that stuff is cool. I think it's so cool that there's so many different things people can sell and do. But fitness changes people's lives in a way that other stuff doesn't. And that's what drew me to this work, because it gives people a sense of empowerment that they lack by and large in their life. It helps people see themselves as strong, capable, resilient. So many of us are walking around feeling like we have no self-esteem, we have no confidence, we don't believe in ourselves. So when you do a really hard workout and you crush it, guess what? You grow in confidence. You don't realize it at the time, but you are, right? And that's why I fell in love with this business. That's why this business is me. And that's why I believe you guys are here, because the same thing drew you to this. It's that desire to want to see people become more than they are, be more than they are, accomplish more than they ever thought they could. That's the thing, right? So how do you do your job is you just talk to people. Just be a person to people. Want people to be better because they are in contact with you. Help people. Send them a recipe if they ask for one. If they need advice, give it to them. If they're asking for suggestions, give it to them. If you know someone else in a different business that can help them better than you can, tag them. Be that person. I promise you, they will never forget it. Ever. Okay, so my job, as I see it now, is to go talk to people every single day to see how I can bless someone today. That's my job. And when I wake up at 5 a.m. and I sit in this chair, which I do now every morning, I work from 5 to 7 a.m. and then I work at night. I sit down and I say, today I'm going to bless someone. I don't know who that's going to be, but I'm going to bless maybe one, maybe more than one person. But I'm going to bless somebody today. So I'm going to go in people's inboxes and I'm going to see who I can bless today. Maybe that's just like, girl, that dress looks so cute on you. That's my blessing to her. Compliment. I don't know what to eat tonight. What do I do? Here's my favorite taco recipe. Blessing. My butt hurts. I don't know what I did. As a therapist, I can be like, here are some things that might help. Right? There's so many ways we can bless people all day long. If you just look at this business as how can I go out there and bless people, bless 25 to 50 people every single day. Within 3 months, you're going to have a business that is going to make your head spin. I'd be willing to put money in a pot over that if you really committed to it, to prove it. Every single one of those people said the same thing. Every single one of those people became crazy successful because they loved people so hard. That's why. Not a one of them had an egotistical, a selfish, single word that came out of their mouth. Not a one of them. Every single one of them talked about making people important, honoring your relationships, taking the time to develop them, knowing who your people are, and working every day to go out there and bless people. They all said the same thing. So I give this to you and I'm going to upload this PDF because I want you to make this your new business activity tracker and really take me up on it for at least a month. Yes, Angel. So then when you want out, okay, like I wanted out, I really did. I was tired. I was so tired. I love my career, but I was tired. When you want out, then you wake up earlier if you need to, go to bed later if you need to, and you say to yourself, I'm going to sit down, I'm going to do this list that Shakti gave me, and I'm going to bless this many people today. And if you don't like those numbers, change those numbers. 10 people. Whatever you feel you can realistically do and feel good about. But I'm just throwing numbers out there that to me are challenging, but they stretch. They stretch me. Okay. So every day you wake up, how can I bless 25 people today? How can I bless 10 people today? How can I bless, right? And then continue those conversations and honor them. Don't ignore them. People want to be seen and they want to be heard. They're not going to say that to you, but they do. Okay? So as long as you are consistently seeing them and hearing them, they're going to hear you the next time you have something to share. But if you're not, you're going to be radio silence to those people. They just won't be able to hear you at all. Of course. So every time you've ever heard someone say, be more interested than you are interesting, that's what they mean. You don't have to be interesting. You just have to be interested in everybody. And of those conversations that you start at the end of 1 week, a lot of them are just going to be conversations. They're not ever going to lead anywhere. They're not ever going to have an open door for a presentation, or that's okay. But you are going to have some. And that's all you need is just some. You don't need a whole lot. You need some. And one of the leaders said something that was so fascinating to me. He has a huge business, has been doing this for like 16 years. I mean, he's, one of those guys. And he was like, you really only need 4 leaders on your team. 4. He's like, you've heard me say, oh, I've sponsored, I don't know, he might have sponsored like 1,200 people or something like that, right? He's like, number sounds so big. I only needed 4. I became a millionaire with 4 leaders on my team. That's all I needed, was 4. Together we became millionaires, all 5 of us. That's all we needed. He's like, we blew up our business overnight with 5 of us. It was not like we didn't need 1,200 people. We needed 5 who loved the business, who wanted to work the business, who had a passion for the products, who had a passion for the mission, and that's it. But you have to turn a lot of cups to find those 4. You have to knock on a lot of doors to find those 4. That's the trade-off. The blessing is you only need 4. The thing is, you got to go looking for those 4. It takes a minute sometimes to get those 4. Right? So faster you knock, faster you find out, right? Slower you knock, slower you find out. There's no pace for this. It's just, what do you want? What do you want? Do you want to go fast or want to go slow? Do you want to find your leaders quickly or do you want to find your leaders slowly? That's entirely up to you. But that's how this business works. You really only need 4. 4 to 5 solid leaders that you can bond with, love the work, and you've got a made business, right? So don't get in your head about, oh, you need to have a huge team and you need it. No, you don't. You don't. You just need a couple of people who are as passionate as you are. And you need to want to love them and help them grow. That's it. That's what this business requires. So I hope that everything I delivered today was really valuable, because it felt really valuable to me when I was receiving it and connecting these dots. I just felt really blessed to be able to hear from so many different voices and to know, yes, I want to pick that up. No, I don't want to pick that up, and so on and so forth when I was in this training. But I challenge you to use this new income producing activities made simple sheet and to decide that these are the 4 activities you're going to do every day. And even for just doing it 1 week, if you just took me up on doing this for 7 days, I promise you would be scheduling either a call or talking about signing someone up or getting on a Voxer or on a voice message with at least one person. I can guarantee that. So who is going to take me up on this and try this for their business for at least a week? Do it. Okay. Kari's going to take me up on this. Angel's going to take, great. So we're doing this as a team, which is what we are, by the way. And when I say I dream of having our team be a 5-star team, of our team being a 5-star team, this is a team effort. We as a team need to come together to hit our goals, right? We are a team. We are not individual people. Otherwise, we would have started individual businesses. Like, the blessing of this business is that we are a community. I didn't want to do the solo entrepreneur thing anymore because it was boring and it was lonely. It sucked. I've done it a lot. I wanted this. I wanted other people who were as excited as I was to go do things, to cheer each other on, to celebrate each other. This is what I wanted. This is my jam. So I am inviting all of you to take this sheet on, to follow the PDF, and then check in the team page and let me know what is happening. If you have screenshots to share, take the screenshots, post it up in the team page, but talk about what's happening as you're implementing this and what people are responding to you, okay, with. Oh, this is so good that you were here today, Kari. So good. I'm so glad that this was the call for today for you. All right, so I've talked a lot, so I'm going to wrap this up. I'm so long-winded, but I'm going to go upload this PDF for you guys. And remember that I'm here for you and the team is here for you. I'm finally feeling better, so can spend longer amounts of time on my computer and work and be available. So if you guys need me, you have a question, if you post on the team page, tag me so I make sure that I get notified that you want my specific opinion on something or help with something, okay? I love you guys. Remember that belief is everything. Belief and your community will carry you for a long, long way. Okay, just remember to go out there and be a blessing on other people's lives and make that the priority in your business. I promise you, it comes back around. Okay, I love y'all. Have an amazing